And we're back.
Well, so tell me, Rob, as far as what your morning routine looks like, what kind of stands out? What makes you kind of do your thing here?
My morning routine has developed over the years, and one thing that really has made a difference, when I started in real estate or when I was young in real estate, I read this book called The 7 Levels of Communication, and that was it talked a lot about being social and being, planning, working your business around your relationships, or running your relationships around your business both ways. A couple of years.
That definitely sticks true to you, though, because a lot of your stuff is being out and about and doing different things. I mean, I even remember when I first started, you were like, hey, yeah, let's ditch the computers. Let's go on out here to a coffee shop. And we spent hours at a coffee shop talking to everybody around us.
And we talked to a lot of people.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's definitely a huge implement for you that obviously that has stood out to be a factor that you've stuck around with.
True. I mean, and it fit my personality. Sometimes for some people it works, for some people it doesn't. Some people are great at making the phone calls and establishing, rapport over the phone. I'm not necessarily. But after kind of absorbing and trying to live by that book as a sales tactic, or a sales strategy for me, Michael Meyer, the guy who wrote it, came out with a second one called Morning Miracle. It's the same characters from the 7 Levels of Communication, because it's written as a novel, and the same characters, they conquered everything in the first book, and they became, they went from, trying to use billboards and newspaper ads to caring about their people and keeping in touch and that kind of thing. So the second book is what happens when you burn out from that, because there's only a certain amount of time that you can be on the top. So that one was about winning the morning, and if you win the morning, then you win the day. That's kind of the takeaway from it. So, like, first thing in the morning, I try to do something that kind of gets me into the mindset of being on task, to be on purpose. So something that just recently one of my friends mentioned was, first thing when you're drinking your coffee before anybody's up or whatever, I like to write down the moment of the day before. It's like moment of the day, whatever the...
Now, being like a highlight or like a moment that you want to learn from?
Either one, or both.
Okay.
Actually, what I did, I laid out a little piece of paper, and it says, I put a T down here at the bottom, and it says what I did well, what I learned. And then up here was like a moment of the day, like something that was neat that happened, or something that I want to remember. If I'm leafing back through it, it's almost like here is a 1 paragraph or less journal, and then these are about my business. This could be, the dog curled up in my lap and fell asleep and it was awesome. Could be whatever.
So you break it apart as being not only just business related.
This is personal. It's almost like 80-20. 80% of my life, this is personal, and this is business. Okay. And so the things that I did well, and the things that I learned, sometimes it's just reinforces, but you take that into the rest of your day, then all of a sudden you've got something.
It's almost like a spark that's back there where it's like, okay, I'm not going to repeat this same thing that I had to learn from, but then also, hey, this worked really well for me to have this positive. Let's go relive that. Let's go redo that again.
Yeah, let's either repeat it or let's build on it. Let's do something else that's kind of related to it, and it's one of those things that helps you move into the day with a little positivity too.
Right.
So been doing that, and then also after conversations with Carrie and Brandon, I also, before I actually step into the office, I do a checklist. But because I was coming in and I was like, even though I'm trying to be coming in with positive, it's like I come in focused on whatever my...
It's very easy to get lost in that you have 30 things to do that day. It's very easy to kind of go from bullet 1 to bullet 27. Right. If you don't write it down and know the order that you need to do, it's very easy to do that. So I can see that.
And if you walk in focused then you kind of, you don't have that interaction that you don't bring positivity. You
Right.
bring in grumpy, or that's what it reads on my face.
Yeah, coffee fixes that for me. So,
So anyway, yeah. So I've started doing the bullet points. At least I need to do no more than 3 or 4, because after 4, it's like, redesign the office or something that doesn't really have to be done today.
So would you say that those kind of things that you take out with not only your power tee that's there, but also with the checklist that you're doing, do you feel like that's what the inspiration kind of stems from for you every day? Or where does the inspiration kind of pour in to keep you going throughout the day?
I've learned if I don't do it, then it's like instead of using a 9mm, I'm using a shotgun, and I'm not hitting whatever because the target's too far away.
Gotcha.
It's a bad analogy, but whatever. Yeah, I think coming in and that checklist is something that I can share with Carrie, so she can help me stay on track. So, what about you? What does your morning look like?
Well, of course, having a 1-year-old, my mornings can vary quite a lot over the last year. There, of course, every new parent knows this. There were struggles in the first couple of months to really get through and really go on the team no sleep and go on the different parts that are there to get used to that and get accustomed. So I would say now that things have really set in line a little bit better with Gracie, who's starting to know more of a schedule and starting to feel more of a schedule, it's pretty much getting up, getting Stella to school. Again, Alcoa is absolutely amazing. We've got to get her there, before 7:45, so the day kind of starts a little bit early. But as we get back home, there's certainly just some coffee, some motivations, definitely the checklist. Again, I know we've kind of hitting it on the nail on the head here, but Carrie with her checklist, it's almost implemented that you really can take that next level of what your day looks like when you have those written down.
Right.
So I've taken a lot of that information as well and made sure that my stuff is there. Now, every day, as far as getting started and doing your parts, I can't stress it enough, going and sitting down for your cold calls and having that positive mindset of, I'm going to get one today. I'm going to get one that needs my help in real estate, and I'm going to be able to help them find this house or help them sell their house or help them anything in between, is the kind of mindset you've got to have when you sit down, because there are days when I've got 5 phone calls to make on my to-dos. There are days when I've got 45 phone calls to make that I know for a fact I need to do those to keep up with my normal stuff.
Right.
But there's only so many you can make in a day. At the end of the day, a lot of my schedule, especially lately, has been revolved around being home. I know you guys going to the office and feeding off of each other does that. For me, that's actually more of a distraction. It is more of a distraction to be around everybody. It is more of a distraction to see everybody and talk to them and do those things. So for me, my stay focused is at my house. Like it is a home office for me. It is very much these time frames are where I'm going to be doing these things. I do get very lucky right now, of course, because I can take a break whenever I want and go see my daughter running around. But there's certainly, pluses and minuses to both. And for me, the minuses way outweighed the pluses when it came to going to the office. So,
right.
You can kind of do both. For those of you that are talking about doing real estate, there are ways to do both the being involved with your team and with your office and everything that's there, but there are also ways to still be at home and get your job done and be just as successful.
What is your big motivation? What is your big inspiration?
It's 2 little girls running around. I can't stress that enough. It's 2 little girls running around, and watching them grow, watching them become into these small humans, and these very much, I want them to be such a big part of life. And I know that they need me to be there and be by their side. Well, in order for me to do that, I have to be successful at what I do here.
Mm-hmm.
So along with not only making sure that they're both doing their things and making sure that they're both able to be positive, assets to the world, it's you have to be successful in the now to make that successful in the future.
Right.
And so for me, it's very easy. And I think any parent can relate as well, that all it takes is just looking at what that future might look like to turn around and change things. So even though there are times when it's very much like, oh God, I gotta make these calls again today, it's still, you gotta be able to get through that. So I definitely say the family side of it, having the girls there, having my wife there as well, being a stay-at-home mom who just absolutely kills it. There are plenty of times when I have to step out of the office area and she's there and she's able to talk about what's going on. She's able to talk about maybe some of the good with the bad where you're able to bounce that off of. And it's definitely some of those times where the inspiration may also go up and down, but when you have that kind of support system, it's been amazing for me.
Right.